Hey everyone, in this video, I'm illustrating a location, the entrance to the central plaza for the Mystic Punks RPG adventure Crackdown at Ivy Park. The goal here is to make this mundane subject interesting, not just to the viewer, but also to myself while I'm working on it. I'm going to talk about 3 ways I get myself engaged with an image where location is the subject. Benjamin Mara here, illustrator and cartoonist. Welcome to my channel where I record my process and give insights about art projects I'm working on with the hope you'll learn some new techniques and be inspired when making your own art. So here I am starting off on the central plaza using the sketch as my basis. I'm creating these monoliths that are at the entrance to the plaza, and the monoliths have some kind of runes on them. They're made of black onyx. The recording jumps at this point because I forgot to hit the record button. You can see where the black onyx or black stone ends up with the runes on them. I've also filled in the hedges that the black stone is in front of. I'm working on the black sky now, the night sky, and cross-hatching to give it a fade at the top here. Thinking about Ken Landgraf and how he uses cross-hatching in his backgrounds to fade values into one another in skies and in clouds. Cross-hatching I don't really like to do very often because it just takes up too much time for what it gives you. A lot of the time just simple feathering can do the trick, but in this case I feel like cross-hatching is required to blend the night sky into the rest of the page. Just going back through and filling in some of the areas that need to be blackened out. Now I'm doing accents on the columns and on the monoliths and in the stream of blood that's coming toward the viewer. Drawing locations can be tough because there aren't any figures in them. Or when there aren't any figures in them, drawing a location can be pretty difficult. When there aren't any figures in an image, my interest usually goes way down and I have to find a gateway into working on the image so that I am engaged with it and really want to work on it. One of the ways I try to think about it is the location is a character. So the location has a personality, it has aspects to it that are interesting, and I try to lean on that thought or that notion and think of the different parts of a location as different pieces of a figure that is a character. Now I'm going into the night sky and putting in the lights that I want to be illuminating the scene. I'm just going to add about 6 of them. The spotlights are a good indication of what time of day it is, which is night. I really like adding in these harsh lighting effects. For some reason it's so satisfying to me. I think it's really effective in the end too, conveying what it's supposed to convey. I also try to focus on what time of day this location is being depicted in. I don't know why, but think about time of day. It gives you ideas about what kind of shadows are being cast on the different forms within the location. It gives you ideas about shadows could be created, and when you have different shadows in play, it gives you challenge for your mind to engage with the image in a way that's like a game. You're trying to figure out what shadows fall where, how they fall across different forms, and that can be a way that I can get into an image. Here what I'm trying to do is find some friend-in brushes that I can use to make the fog effects or make the mist effects. I'm really happy with the spray paint brush when I was using it in the Shaded Grove image that I did earlier, but I want to see if I can find something better. The way that I do it is, on the iPad, you can put Dropbox in a separate pane to the left of Clip Studio, and I can cycle through the brushes that are available in my Dropbox and see what I can find. So I've added a few brushes and I'm just trying to test them out to see what kind of effects they have. I'm pretty happy with how this stippling brush or spray paint brush is working, so I'm going to use it to blend in the bottom parts of the sky and the monoliths and hedges in the foreground. Everything, like I said, is going to be pretty much obscured by this fog, so I want to make sure that I'm obscuring things but not obscuring things too much. Now I'm going in with a different spray paint brush or stippling brush to do the fog effects. I believe I'm using a mask to preserve the ink's integrity, so I can experiment a little bit with how these fog shapes are working. If they're not working, I can just always erase the mask. I'm not actually doing any permanent alterations to the inks themselves. So I'm just trying to figure out what these tendrils of fog are going to be like, and then add some actual black spray paint to the fogs themselves. I'm just experimenting with different brushes that I'm using to see if I can find the ones that have the best effect, or the effect that I'm kind of going for. Another way that I try to get into location imagery is think about the different kinds of surfaces that the light is hitting within a location. Is it glass? Is it stone? Is it grass? Is it wood? And think about the different types of patterns that might emerge from light striking these different areas. Architecture can be tough to draw. It's not really my forte. It's not something that I have a lot of interest in. But when I look at other artists who are inspired by architecture, that gets me into the idea of focusing in on buildings and how they look and getting into the details of buildings and architectural forms. That can be a way that I can definitely get into drawing a location. When I add in the black spray paint or stippling, it really gives volume to the mist itself. The one thing is that it can you run the risk of things kind of flattening out a little bit. That's what I'm noticing here. You can't really tell what mist is in the foreground or what mist is in the background, but you're just looking through all of this mist. If that effect is believable enough or reads the best or is communicated, then I think the drawing can be successful. So I'm just doing some touching up here to obscure the hedges that are in the background to give a little bit more of a sfumatu effect. There's a fountain in the center that is obscured. It needs to be a focal point because this is something that player characters will happen across, and they need to see that there's a fountain in the plaza, but they can't really see what it is yet. I'm just scanning the image to see what needs to be done next. So this is the final image. Pretty happy with how it turned out. I'm never really happy with anything that I do. I think that's what keeps me going, but I think that this image is satisfactory and I think it's going to do the job. Thanks for watching, everyone. Please hit the like and subscribe buttons. If you have any questions about what I've been working on or anything I mentioned in the video, leave them in the comments below and I'll be sure to answer them. See you in the next video.